Onceava partida, mis brothers.
We're still in a 2v2. We know the third party is going to come in, but if you take a look at the map, there's only one orange arrow. Maybe the full commit has not come in just yet. We'll have to see how this one plays out.
Bro,
It's almost like
puedes hacer
sending
todo,
in
bro.
the
Yo
lone
comienzo la
scout,
partida. Sí,
trying
bro,
to
ya.
figure
Ahí
out,
está.
is this really worth getting involved
Ahora sí
with
empezó
just yet?
rápido.
But Tayson, Atris, they've got such an advantage now over Pablo and Ferdoxy. Their HP rapidly dwindling away here as Tayson now just waiting for that final opportunity, but without a shotgun. He doesn't feel confident enough, and for good reason, because one good bump shot could be the end of it. Ferdoxy's gonna opt to try and get away, but Atris
Adiós,
just
Ferdoxy.
lacquered Atris, immediately panning the other direction, and that'll be the end of Ferdoxy's
Oh no,
team.
¿quién fue?
When
A
Ferdoxy
Pablo
hit
fue que
that crash
mataron, aquí no
pad,
alcancé a ver bien.
Atris had 9 medium bullets left. By the time he got that elimination, 4 well-placed shots. He gets the elim, they win off spawn, and just like Ferdoxy had those chances, a comeback opportunity for Tayson.
But Vivid, you know, we've been watching that off spawn take place all day long. You have to expect that surely a third party is still going to want to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, the reboot, right? That's going to be on their minds. Is that going to be possible? We know when you go ahead and reboot, there's a giant beam that comes down from the sky. Lets everybody know, but oh my gosh, Darm, Damus, and Pix, they're in trouble.
Yeah, they're in trouble. Pix is going to be down. Malibuca walks and pings. They have advantage in this fight, and they know how stacked the top side of the leaderboard is, and they're not scared. They want to continue to put the pressure. It's just a matter of, did they see Darm? Did they see Demus rotate over in that direction towards the rainbow field? And I do think they did. Crash pads coming out. They're trying to close the gap.
Battle between third and seventh, it's just not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze here for Bolin and Demus Darm. Fortunately enough for them, Malibuca not checking the bushes, a little bit lackadaisical.
And this is how we know it's game 11, right? With only a couple chances left for some of these teams to pick up points. This is atypical for Malibuca, Walks, and Ping. We've seen them kind of base up early every single game. But now the push, the aggression, they got to be thinking about
el equipo de Mario ya
need.
remontó un poquito en puntos. 606 les llevaban 80 y ya van mejor.
Such a monumental lead to start the day, but it only took several matches, and they've watched those points quickly go the other direction for everybody else except them.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit of a deeper look, looking towards the north, trading shots with Mr. Savage and the entire trio towards the west. It is going to be goofy in the trio, even with a knock there. There's just too much time and distance separating these two teams. It's going to take a crash pad and a Flowberry Fizz, and it still might not even be enough as we jump on board Sadie Panzer, Yapko. The crowd just constantly letting them know how they feel, and since the zone is coming over towards the Kappa Kappa factory, you can see this is where they're going to set up to try to get that damage.
I mean, yeah, this is something that we've seen across every single one of the games, right? Yapko just kind of based up early on. Sadie, you might be looking at his inventory like, why does he have nothing in there? That's because he's going around the entirety of the map, making sure that his team is going to be set up very, very nicely for the rest of the game, while they go ahead and pick up all of the damage.
Elsewhere, you see some of the action going on. Baka getting a knock onto Adapter. Hasn't cleaned up the elimination yet, but Darm has been found out. Walks and pings. They take the 2v1.
Big Darm
One step closer to sending the entire trio back to the lobby, but Malibuca ends it as well in the 1v1 against Demus. Third place is out of there.
Malibuca might have missed them the first time, but they knew they had to still be local to the area. There's only so far that they could actually squirm away to, and the fact that they just get completely ran down here by Walks, Ping, and Malibuca, those are the types of aggressive plays you have to make when you are in 7th place and you're staring down a leaderboard that is so tight-knit.
The crowd just constantly cheering for anybody on the MA or Havoc squads, letting them know, like, hey, take our energy, you guys have this. As Yamzo clicks and Higgs, different strategy this time around. Instead of sitting on top of Supernova Academy, they're going for a lurk. Nada, Rapid, and Bolts, and they do see all the information in the feed. So if any of them do get knocked, I expect Clicks and his trio to run straight over and try to get the chop, clean up what could be good damage.
Yeah, but this is something that we've seen before, right?
El
Socials
equipo de
were
Canadá
kind
ya
of talking
casi
about
alcanza el
how
de Panzer,
Clicks,
güey.
yeah, they might have gotten a knock on this exact trio before, but they were a little bit hesitant to go ahead and push, right? Are we going to see something similar right now? Will they go ahead and full commit? I mean, 12th place
Dije, vamos
going
a
into game
bajarlo a
number
la
11. You
12.
would imagine they got to be thinking this time, we got to go for
Kill
it.
subió al 9,
Sometimes if you
estaba
let
en
it
el
sit
10.
too long, your blade starts to go cold, and if they don't act fast, they're gonna maybe have to watch this opportunity completely pass them by. The big thing here too is that Kanata and Bolts, they're not even replenishing their shields. They are totally content with being knocked inside of their surge base. They've got Rapid, healthy. I mean, that's your IGL, so of course he's just refarming all of the materials,
Están
looking for
escondidos
extra
como
ones
ratas
as
el
well.
Heist y el Clix y el
I
Leonzo,
mean,
güey.
that's scary. You're sitting on the global stage right now. I can tell you right now, Jacob, if I was sitting up there with no shield on, knowing that so many of these competitors have been
brother no
making
trae nada de
plays on
escudo.
these exact type of bases. We've seen it time
Canadá
and time again,
tampoco, güey.
not only
Pónganse el
throughout
escudo.
the
Ahí está el
year,
escudo,
but
güey.
throughout this exact competition that plays these sneaky plays for the bottom of these surge towers. They
¿Qué
are
pedo
made
con
all the
estos
time. You
culeros,
have
güey, que
no
se están
shield right
escondiendo,
now.
güey?
It's in my head. I'm thinking, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. They're trying to watch out for Rapid. They know they're focused on top over at the OXR HQ,
Sí, es que
and they
están-
know Rapid is wandering
están en
around on the
altura.
low ground, replenishing all of the materials that they use to build that surge tower, and they're just waiting, like I said, for that knock or for an opportunity to get that 3v1 onto Rapid, whichever one comes first.
But if Rapid goes one step too far,
Rapid está ahí
Iamzo
cerca
clicks
también, pero
Higgs.
está
The
solo.
moment that they realize that he's by himself, Rapid would actually be the best player to hit a nice 3-2-1
Les
on
puede caer
because
por
he's the
atrás,
one carrying
Tormenta.
everything for Kanata and Bolts right now. He has max materials just
Yo
about.
creo que
He's
Rapid
still
no se ha dado
trying
cuenta
to
que están
finalize
Heights,
just
Clix
the
y
last
vamos ahí
few
cerca.
components. Clicks, Iamzo, Higgs just creeping forward. Rapid starting to make his way
Ya los
up,
vio.
but they've been exposed. They took moments too long, and now Rapid, red alert Mayday situation here. But Bolts, Kanata with a plethora of heals in this surge base. This is not the place to be for Clicks, Iamzo, and Higgs.
Instantly trying to go for that chop down. All three
Ya
are
les
up
tumbaron todo.
above. Here it comes. They popped the Flowberry Fizz just in time, but Clicks landing an immense amount of damage, getting Bolts down to just a sliver of HP, and they're immediately pushing over. Vivid said it, and he meant it. They are learning their lesson. 331 points. They fell outside of the top 10 with 2 games left. They have to take these chances.
Están en
But
tormenta,
Vivid, do
güey.
you think that it's still worth trying to force this
Pelea de
engagement,
tormenta.
knowing full well that you're looking at a team like Kanata that's got more than enough surge, and they can afford to stick around with all these heals?
I think the power behind the push for Clicks, Iamzo and Higgs right there, it was all about
Se
the
fueron.
surprise. Rapid with an MVP performance, acting like a bird in the sky, making sure that he kept his 2 teammates safe. Shout out to him, right? Because when you look at the leaderboard, they're in 5th place right now. If Rapid doesn't see them, everything falls apart. So shout out to Rapid for catching that one. And Mr. Savage, Chap,
Y
and
no se alcanza a
Reason,
distinguir la tormenta, pero
they've been
están en la
having a
tormenta.
pretty good weekend, but towards the end of the competition right now, it seems like they're slowing down.
Do
Ya-
have to believe it's a little bit revitalizing though when you watch Reason put on such a strong solo performance in the last lobby. That tells me they've still got gusto and they're still willing to throw everything
Pollo ahí
on the
anda también.
line to make it work.
Yeah, they're chasing right now. Agers, Acorn, and Pollo, they see Mixon outside by himself. They're trying to clean up that elimination. Upfull's going to
Oh,
go down
perro.
as well. No more knocks coming into play, which means that full team is down and out of this lobby. The aggressive plays coming late into the day here on day 2 for Agers, Acorn, and Pollo seem to be working out.
Jacob, you're talking about aggressive plays. We've obviously been able to take a look at a couple of them, but if you look in the top left, the player count right now, 59. This lobby is getting destroyed by aggression right now.
These guys are crashing on each other is what that tells me, Vivid. But Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache, they're taking a much more tactical approach. Queasy, the mastermind, you have to remember,
Queasy,
back
Swizzy,
at the
Mr. Mersta son los que van
Invitational
liderando
2022,
hasta
he was the
ahorita.
one that made the decision. I want to land on them. I want to challenge
Aquí
it. And
tienen
it's not as
enfrente.
direct, but it's still there.
Jacob, this is a strategy. They know they land OXR. They're waiting on top of the mountain. They want to rain down the shots as they fly through the sky.
Trata.
They crack the shields
Este
on
brother
the
ya casi lo
one.
termina.
There's just so much distance before he reaches the ground. He's out of render distance overall. Instantly comes the crash pad. Mustache, Queasy, Swizzy, they're trying to rotate in that direction. Finally, they get another opportunity,
Lo
and
eliminó.
it works. Vanya goes down. Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy are going after second place.
A
But what's
rushear,
going
a
to be there
rushear.
faster? The double revive or Swizzy, Mustache, and Queasy. They're doing everything they can to try and collapse onto this position. Vanya's already been back up into the running, but they're
revivieron.
going all in here. Swizzy, Queasy, Mustache, they're looking to control their own destiny. They want to take down Vanya. close, but Mustache, Queasy, Swizzy, they're just not able to close the gap. And Mustache, he's lost too much HP. He's gonna be forced to fall back.
This is it. This is the moment. Why wait till game 12? Marius, Pixie, and Vanya, they've given an opportunity here to take down first place and potentially take that spot. Few points separate them, and Swizzy's probably realizing their backs are up against the wall, maybe even second guessing this decision to go ahead and try to surprise attack them. But they have the low ground. Marius, Pixie, Vanya, they have the high ground, and since they do have that, they have the decision to hold and pressure them down below or rotate out like you see here.
No risk, no story,
Se
though.
pelaron,
And
güey.
is a little bit split apart here. Mustache,
Ahí van.
Swizzy, Swizzy,
Oh my
they're still
God.
chasing them all the way
Está
down to
bueno
the
este tiro.
vertigo. These guys are full on fighting inside of the storm.
Y en
It's early
tormenta,
zone
güey.
tick, so they don't have to worry too heavily, but it's the storm sickness, Jacob. Both of these
Listos,
teams are delaying
eliminado.
their own end game.
And something that we saw come into play in that last game, the storm sickness, getting chunks of HP ripped off in the end game, but they're continuing to go. They want to chase this one down, but Pixie on the other side, he's the most elevated. Vanya, he's on the low ground trying to heal the best that he can, but so Pixie
Esperando
is
que
making
salga
sure
para
to
reventarle un
defensively
pinche
hold the high
revolverazo
ground.
en el
Marius as
hocico,
well.
güey.
Flowberry Fizz, just make sure to top off the shields. That way they can
Vámonos.
force them down further and further. They continuously are getting chased, but you say, you know what? You want to fight? Come get it.
They're throwing everything at this one. The inventory, all of the heals, they're disappearing. Marius is becoming fully aware that the investment is soon becoming not worth it. How aggressive they're gonna get. They're coming right box to box, wall to wall right now.
But think about
¿Quién
the
ganará
biggest
esta
differences
partida?
here. Queasy's team, they're not actually carrying shotguns. All they have is the Wrecker revolvers in comparison to Marius, who's rocking both, but it's a gray sentinel at best.
No, no
and
trae
that
muy- no
Wrecker
trae muy buen
revolver
look
just
que
not
digamos.
able to get close enough. Pixie, Vanya, and Marius essentially at a standstill right now with Queasy.
They have the majority of the heals. You already see the slurp juice in the inventory, med kits being used. Essentially almost 200 HP and shields combined between these two, so they do have a little bit more of an upper hand. And I think Marius knows they're running out of HP resources to keep this fight going longer, so they are definitely now officially on the clock this deep in the zone, and it's only the fourth one overall. Mustache and them still have splashes underneath. Vanya's dropping, almost gets boxed up. Mustache has his head on a swivel, continuously turning around, but Tabo and there it is in action. Marius is able to get the knock onto one, but he gets dropped to 30 HP. They desperately need the siphon, but oh no! Disaster strikes! Pixie is now the last one alive! Mustache and Swizzy, they lose Queasy, but it's only a knock.
Pues
He's quickly
eliminado, güey.
going for the revive. A miracle in the making as Pixie
Perros,
They
loco.
got all three. That's all that they needed. The space has been created, but now they have to capitalize on it. It's one thing to take them out. It's another to keep building on the lead overall.
Qué reventada
Mustache,
les
and
dieron.
Swizzy, this game has just begun.
Insane scenes here.
Click, se anda arrastrando como rata ya. Adiós, Yomso.
As Peter brought Ritual and Cold end that fight as soon as we turn in.
Güey, ¿por qué bailan, güey? Ni que fueras ganando el pinche mundial.
Showboat and said, hey, you might be ahead of us on the leaderboard, but we know who's the king.
Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, we just tuned in. 6 eliminations. That one's gotta feel good. Coming all the way over from NA to the global stage. Kind of that back and forth that happens between those two trios. That one's gotta feel good, but I can't lie, Taco, right? Ritual with 4 eliminations himself, showing what a year's worth of mechanical training can really do on the big stage.
And we all witnessed the Richie 1v3s throughout the divisional cups, Vivid, and even in the majors, Ritual was putting up quite a stellar performance, but now things are gonna fall directly into the line of sight
puntos,
here for PH, Zen, Phaser, and King. They've already spotted out 2 other teams based on
Bueno, el equipo
mountains
de
right next to us. These next
512
couple of
y sí le lleva una
rotates could be
diferencia al
rather
equipo de
difficult, but
Marisol.
Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, they're still
7
looking
y
to
8
press forward.
eliminados.
They're actually trying to do it from underneath. They're hoping that they can just collect whatever leftover hard mats they can
King
find.
volvió a bajar a 10, estaba en 9.
With a sold out crowd, you know they're going for M8, you know they're going for Havoc. So everybody at home, watching on Twitch, watching online, you need to give your energy to NA if you want to see a miracle comeback, because second, third, fourth place, all of them down. Fifth place, that's Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, and a chance to close the gap especially more so if they can figure out a way to take down Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstache. But we're now into the top 17. This is where placement points are going to come into play, and they're going to start moving quickly.
Vivid, how do you feel seeing this rotation by Savage, Reason, and Chap? It looked relatively healthy, but they're not the only ones. Other teams in EU definitely making their presence known.
Yeah, the chase is on right now for a couple of our teams, namely Malibuca, Walks, and Ping. The aggression early, they want to go ahead and catch up to Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts, right? That's the only team that is currently alive that is ahead of them right now. And as I say that,
Mi playera de qué anime es, el Jujutsu Kaisen, bro.
One of the practice lobbies right now, though, down to our last
Es el
17
Jujutsu Kaisen.
teams, and only 6 zone. Ping, Walks, Malibuca. They're trying to see if they can bring down Agers and Acorn with it. Pollo's already been claimed. Acorn, Agers, just trying to create a little bit of space, but they know this might be a fight that they can't avoid any longer. They're gonna have to try and take a crash pad out of here, but Malibuca, Walks, and Ping, they are fully wary of what lies ahead.
Yeah, and you can see in the mini-map, Acorn, Agers, they immediately rotated out with or without the reboot card. A couple more teams rotating in and around this path for Pings, Walks, and Malibuca. Could be opportunities for elims or more damage, but they see that
Están
coming.
varios
They
ya
want to
todos
continue to
en
rotate in
la
right
misma
next to them.
zona.
Queasy, Merstache, Swizzy, all trying to get
Canadá,
this elevation
Merstache,
differential
Acorn,
for this next
Malibuca,
zone.
Goofy, no,
But
sí, varios.
just above
Sí,
them on
sí.
the other side of this mountain face.
Merstache.
Kanata, Rapid,
Estos güeyes
Bolts,
están
they see the crash pad.
liderando
Merstache,
bien,
he's
machín. Ya
been
bajaron a
Merstache
Merstache,
is
güey.
brought down. Swizzy also incredibly low. They're going to be forced
No,
to
y
drop
Swizzy quedó
all
con
the way
12.
down. That height security that they were once hoping for has been completely lost here. Queasy, the
Queasy ya
healthiest
agarró
member
altura.
of his team, but he's got
Con
nobody
razón se me
next
hacía
to him.
conocida
He
esas
can't
letras de
get
tu
close to
camisa.
Swizzy.
And that's that investment. What goes around comes around. If you want to sit and storm and fight between first and second place, you want that one to be drawn out. You want to invest everything you have into it. Once you realize that you got to make one of these rotations all the way up the mountain, all of
Nomás
these
está
aimers
Swizzy
kind of
del
paying
equipo,
attention
¿verdad?
to you, you realize quickly you don't have what it takes to survive in this lobby.
Oh my, second, third, and fourth. I talked about them being out. And now 5th place has just lost their IGL and Rapid. And it's Queasy and Swizzy that are doing the majority of that damage as they try to make their way into the zone.
But Queasy can't get down. He has no mats. They were all on
No, no
Swizzy
tienen
and
mats, pero tienen
Merstache.
crash
They
nada
haven't had a
más.
chance to actually drop any of their materials. He does see a crash pad. He's trying to bring Swizzy up with him. And now Swizzy
Perro, güey. Qué puta jugadota se acaba de aventar ese cabrón, güey. Sí, a
That's
huevo,
just a
subes
shine. That's just a
conmigo, perro.
glimpse. That is 7,000 IQ, and the
No,
selfless
güey,
plays.
esos
and
neta
why we
tienen
call
un
him one of the
IQ de
greatest
juego
IGL.
muy
No,
perra
forget
esos
that.
cabrones,
That's why we
güey.
call him one of the greatest Fortnite
Puto
players in the
chamaco,
history of the game, and he's looking to prove it. If he could just close out these last 2 games, even with the loss of our stats, we're still
Vámonos.
1,100 damage above the threshold as they land a couple more shots. Now 1,200 and continuously rolling.
But this is a really healthy trio. Cooper, Curly, Reed. I don't know that that's what Queasy's really looking to chase up. He's not trying to bark up the wrong tree here after all.
Quedan
They've
Queasy,
got to
Swizzy,
be a
Merstache,
little bit
ya
more
mamó.
reserved here, Vivid. They don't want to overextend their welcome.
I mean, they're in the mix of things right now. They've gotten a couple of shots on a couple of trios right there. Maybe they can make something happen. As I say, that Queasy actually gets knocked. Now it's going to be
Queasy,
all
bye,
over
güey.
Swizzy
Bye,
gets
güey.
knocked down. First, second, third, fourth, all out of the competition.
They at least had some eliminations to go with it, but will it really be enough? The leaderboard will have to wait and tell a different story here. Malibuca, Walks, and Ping, though, fighting a battle of their own. They're now looking to see if they can overthrow the high ground. I drop Cammy, Hottie. They've been a little bit tagged up here, but it's Ping who eats the greater bulk of his shields there. Malibuca, Walks, now having to head towards the forefront. They're looking back. They're trying to provide some support. They have a slight placement on this side of the mountain, and they are looking down, and guess who's underneath them? Peterbot. Cold, Ritual, Mr. Savage, Captain Reason, so many teams crashing onto this mountain face.
A good chunk of the top 10 overall back into the lobby. Even our 5th place team on that leaderboard missing a player, and one of the more important ones into Rapid. as Phaser, PHN, King, they know they're not in zone just yet. In fact, they might have one of the farthest pulls in the entirety of the lobby. With Aspect, Tinka, Kazi in their path, they want to continue to roll through. Even with the med kits, even with the minis, they realize they are lacking materials and a ton of them.
Paying attention to the leaderboard of the last Global Championship. No minor region teams in the top 10. King, Phaser, PHN, they're trying to make that push right now. When you want to talk about a push, Taco, boats towards the bottom of the mountain. No mats to work with. Top 5 as it currently stands. The push is on.
What a genius, though. Bolts recognizing that the zone's going to pull over this big Ben tunnel face. He's going to take a little bit of a harbor safety inside. But King, he's got literally 1 HP and a dream. The small shield potion, he's managed to get it off. But Phaser, only 2 builds remain. He can't keep continuing to hold that leverage over King's head. Instead, Phaser holding on for dear life, but he needs the heal. He won't get the chance. He's going to be eaten alive by the lobby.
Oh, he props the crash pad,
No,
but
¿cómo se
instead
te
he
ocurre
goes
hacer eso,
straight
King?
up and back to the lobby with that elimination. That one's going to hurt, but a lot of those
que te están
rank ups
disparando
coming
desde
in,
arriba
and
con
that's an
altura, güey,
A-rank
se te ocurre
upgrade. That
brincar.
could be fruitful for Bolts underneath, who has to start to
Se me
think,
hizo un
who
error muy
has to
novato
start
eso,
to
güey.
act quick, because he has only 8 builds, no heals in his loadout, and no mobility on top of that as we're going high up the
Nada más
mountain.
Bolts está
Bolts
abajo,
doesn't even
güey.
get a
Todos
chance
tienen
really to
altura.
try stop and check. He's just making sure that he stays concealed towards that backside of zone. But on the high ground, Palad, Hero, FKS, they've actually managed to overtake one of the best positions that we've seen them in all weekend long.
Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, they don't want to walk away from this competition without at least putting some sort of a staple into it. They want to show everybody that, hey, listen, we had a tough time off spawn, but when we make it to the end game, we can put on a show.
Yeah, Bolts just went down off the side of that mountain. Their run in this game has come to an end. Did they get enough to move into the top 4? But Peterbot now battling for it all.
Qué pinche batallota campal se están aventando, güey.
And he's done it. He's gotten the high ground. He's gotten an elimination.
Peter va bien ahí. Peter tiene buena altura.
And he's continuing to pressure down and stealing the high
Está
ground
presionando.
away.
Así tenías que haber presionado desde el principio, mi brother.
And takes what theirs.
Yesterday, Peterbot said, it's my day,
Falcon,
y'all, but
Peterbot.
today, it's a whole new beast coming alive.
Ojalá por lo menos ganen esta
Hour.
partida, güey.
FKS gonna be taken out by Ritual Aspect as well, claiming that
Que no se
series
vayan
of
tan mal del
eliminations
mundial.
were Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual. They're now kings of the mountain face, and they might be kings of this lobby if everyone else isn't careful.
There's still more than half of the placement points still available in
Yeah,
this
well.
lobby, and I think Reza knows it. That's why he's moved to the outside of the zone. He saw 3 different med kits, a replenished amount of materials, and this could be the difference maker in terms of point differential as that leaderboard goes down below. Now Labuka, he's struggling all around, rejoins his team. The splashes are coming out, but they're in the backside of the zone. They're sacrificing HP to try to catch any team off guard.
It's because of the way that the zone is pulled over this slight bridge of elevation.
Además queda Wilson solo, güey. Saba y Chichar ya mamaron.
Malabuka is going to be forced to try and play heals, try and acquire whatever
Ya el
placement
equipo de
points are
Malibuca
possible.
también ya
The siphon
peló.
materials going to give him a little bit of extra time and the 2 med kits, but still, he has to make his way forward, and he's going to have to crash directly into Reed Cooper and Curly. But the moment they head down, they're taken out by Peterbot.
Reed just getting targeted from up above. He loses
Peter
all of
se
his
quitó
materials,
vida,
has
güey,
no
se
other
rompió las
choice, but
patas,
another team
cabrón.
to test towards the high ground. Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot, they're forced scrambling around, figuring out a way to reunite. The Flowberry Fizz does come out. That's Kisco, that's Striker, that's Kanu. They've taken down NA's best, but it's only for so long. Revenge comes in, and it comes in quick. Cold gets it down onto 1. No siphon just yet. He needs to buy
mames,
time.
qué
No
pinche
extra
presión,
build, and
güey.
he's facing Reason on the other side.
Cold, adiós, Wilson, bye.
Down they go. 3v3 here for the end game. Kami, Hadi, that's relatively loose because Eyedrop is down. Kadu, Striker, and Tisco, they could take it all.
And this is what the international scene has needed all weekend long, but no, Cammy, Hadi, Cammy's not going to be able to make it through. It's only Tisco, Striker, and Kadu left to deal with Hadi, but Hadi will be forced to charge forward. He tries to head towards the high ground, but he just doesn't have the HP. Tisco just needs
No, Tisco fue el último que hizo eliminación. Qué buena, qué buena. Estamos a una partida, amigos, de saber quién van a ser los nuevos campeones mundiales en trío. Qué pinche partidota, güey, la neta. Buena, muy buena.
Please, boys, on your feet. We've got Ricardo translating for us. Stand up, please. Striker, I need to come to you first. What was going through your mind during that final fight?
O que você estava pensando naquela última batalha?
Ah, que a gente tinha que ganhar, né? Entrar no comeback, dar os pontos para chegar no top 10 aí e subir na tabela.
The only thought was they needed to win. They won the top 10, so that's the only my.
Pues sí, necesitaban ganar, güey, para quedar
And
más
that
bien en el
makes a
top
lot
10.
of sense because I don't think a Brazilian team has ever placed inside the top 10 at a Fortnite Global LAN before. Do you think this could be the year?
Você acha que esse é o ano que um time brasileiro pode ficar entre o top 10?
Ah, este es equipo brasileño.
Tomara que os brasileiros consigam ficar, não só nós, sino também o King, Phaser, PH, que estão perto do top 10. Então, tomara que nós dois fiquem lá e seja história.
El Peter Bot está atrás de ellos.
If that's okay. Sorry, Ricardo. Kado, what has this experience been like for you? To get a victory royale, is this like the ultimate prize for you right now?
Como tem sido essa experiência para você ter esse vitória royal?
Bom, foi muito importante para nós, a gente precisava dessa vitória. Tava abaixo do top 15 e eu acho que com essa vitória agora a gente vai ganhar muita confiança para a última partida.
Bros, regreso no tarda. Ahorita en un segundito vuelvo con ustedes.
That was very important here, and they can't wait for the last match.
Well, guys, we cannot wait for the last match after. It has been incredible to have you guys here. Well done for doing it for Brazil. Please, Leon, faites du bruit! Now, after this last game, we're going to be crowning a world champion. So tell your friends, they're not going to want to miss this.